There's so many fights that the Asian Law Caucus has undertaken for our community. Their work has reverberated throughout our country. They've really been a trailblazer in so many issues that we care about.
And the caucus has always been a part of a movement, and as a part of being able to think in the long haul, if we really still think it's possible to build a multicultural democracy.
Our whole goal was to empower this community, and not as lawyers winning battles for our clients, but helping clients win battles for themselves.
When I think about where the caucus is today at 40 years, I'm so proud of what we've been able to accomplish. The caucus today is in many ways the strongest that we've ever been. But when we look at what the need is in the community, we need to be so much stronger. And so I think the next stage of the caucus is just being much more ambitious than we've ever been about what we can accomplish and how impactful we can be.
The goal of the employment program is to advocate and fight for the rights of low-income workers, primarily from our communities, from the surrounding Asian communities. Most of the people who came to our clinic came by word of mouth, and they were not only folks who were monolingual or LEP, didn't know what their rights were, and I really think that we're serving a population that otherwise isn't reached.
The story behind ALC's move to 55 Columbus goes back to 1998, when the tenants living on the property were confronted with having to move out. But the residents didn't want to move out. This was their home. Chinatown was their home.
因為我哋呢個整棟大廈呢，我哋60%-70%都係耆英嚟嘅。咁但係呢個時候，你話如果要遷我哋出去，我哋啲耆英點辦呢？我哋啲低收入人士點辦呢？所以呢，當時呢係俾咗一個亞洲法律聯會呢就介入咗幫我哋。咁結果呢，我哋呢就同司法卡處呢就打咗8年嘅官司。咁喺呢8年入邊呢，經歷咗好多風雨。咁但係呢，喺官司過程入邊呢，司法卡處呢就係同我哋庭外和解，就賣咗呢棟大廈俾我哋嘅住客。咁亞洲法律聯會呢，亦都好熱心咁樣幫我哋成立咗一個叫做沙蘭市土地信託基金嘅機構嚟幫助我哋。咁呢，就先至搞到今日咁嘅局面，使我哋擁有一個自己嘅家。
The caucus, clearly immigrant rights is on the agenda. It still is on the agenda. Our community has changed quite a bit in the last 20-25 years. And I think for the caucus, it's trying to be innovative, be creative, and certainly open to what the new changing demographics are.
So my name is Francisco Ugarte. I'm an immigration attorney with Dolores Street Community Services, and we are part of the San Francisco Immigrant Legal and Education Network. This is a pretty novel collaboration. The Asian Law Caucus is a pretty big part of the network. There were 11 simultaneous home raids in the city of San Francisco. From that point forward, we realized that many of these folks did not have any criminal convictions. They were stopped illegally, they were detained unlawfully, and unfortunately today, the raids are targeting Latino community. And Asian Law Caucus is there supporting the Latino community in ways really, I'm not really sure if the public is aware of.
You know, it's really interesting when you look at the history of Asian Americans in this country, there's actually quite a lot of links. You go back to 1880s and you see the Chinese Exclusion Act. And the same thing happens in its own way in 1940s with the Japanese American community. And then you come into 2000 and September 11th and you find that folks are being asked to register under the special registration program and then the unlawful detentions. So there's actually a lot of links between these communities. And what you have to find is some institution, some organization that can bind them together. Otherwise, they're just separate experiences.
So my name is Amir Khan, and I've been, profiled for a long period of time. So every time I would go to the airport domestically, I would be stopped, and I had to go through additional security screening. It happened, I would say 99% of the time, and they called it random. Somebody told me about this organization. They said, they deal with harassment and profiling. Personnel of Asian Law Caucuses were extremely helpful. They provided me the opportunity to, bring the story, my experience to light, basically, and get some sort of justice.
The Asian Law Caucus was a key part of Fred Korematsu's legal team. It was the only organization involved that had resources to devote to this.
Little did we know after 9/11 that my father's quorum nobis decision would have more relevance and impact now than it even did in 1983.
We knew that one of the most important components was going to be education. And so to have a Korematsu Institute continue that legacy of Fred's fight and the legacy of education that we intended to promote is remarkable and is wonderful.
The best way that I've been able to measure the impact of our work has been to visit classrooms and to see our curriculum put into action, and to walk around and to talk to very young students, even at age 7 or age 9 years old, and to ask them, what are you doing? And they say to us, I'm learning about Fred Korematsu. And I ask, well, who is he? And they say to me, he fought against something that wasn't fair. And that's really the essence of what we're doing, is not just to tell them about the story of one man, but to tell them about the story of one man who represented a much, much bigger issue, not just for his specific community, but really for the nation at large.
It's really critical to invest in organizations like the Asian Law Caucus because of the history that it has, because the kind of important and critical work that it does, not only on behalf of Asian Americans and Pacific Islanders, but for all of us.
I think it's important to invest in civil rights. Our country's history, unfortunately, is full of a lot of instances of inequality, of maltreatment. Our civil rights laws are really an aberration to American history. They are the exception to the rule. And we always have to remain vigilant because there are people who want to wipe these laws off the books.
I think it's very easy for many nonprofits and civil rights organizations to just work on their own agenda in a vacuum. The caucus has always been in the vanguard of a progressive movement in the Bay Area and indeed in the country.
I think it's kept true to its mission about education, trying to empower the community, trying to use law as a tool to empower that community. But I also think that it's grown and it's kept its contacts with the community, which I'm really proud of.
I'm really proud of the way that we've stayed true to our commitment to really fighting for and standing with the most vulnerable people in our communities. And I think that that commitment has served us so well and has really led us to work on all of the important civil rights issues of our day.
We are the children of the migrant worker. We are the offspring of the concentration.